Pokemon. As of 2016, it's been 20 years since you've been unleashed on the world, and have been a cultural phenomenon all across the world with animes, manga, movies, and most of all, video games. So far, to celebrate this, we've had re-releases of Gen 1 for the 3DS Virtual Console, the upcoming mobile game Pokemon Go that, as of recent footage and details, isn't gonna be like what we all thought it would be, and it's just gonna be a generic standard mobile crap. And the announcement of Pokemon Sun and Moon for the 3DS later this year, which presumably will kick off Gen 7. And of course, the topic of this video, a fighting game named Pokken Tournament, developed by the Tekken team at Bandai Namco, and was published by both Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, and was released in Japanese arcades of July of 2015. And in March of this year, we saw a release worldwide for the Wii U. So anyways, I'm Anime Gamer, and welcome to my review of Pokken Tournament for the Wii U. Let me off by saying this, there isn't really much of a story to Pokken. It basically goes like this: you're a trainer in the Farum region, and are competing in the Farum League in order to become that league's champion. And that's really it. There is some stuff with this mysterious female Pokemon trainer, and her even more mysterious Shadow Mewtwo, but that's basically it. And this is really, to be fair, expected since this is a Pokemon spin-off after all, but I wish there was a little more to do, and this story I found really boring and just completely forgettable. So yeah, that's really just to it about the story. If you're looking for any more deep, well, you've come to the wrong place. As far as for this game's presentation goes, Pokken isn't going to light the world on fire with its visuals due to it running at 720p, and some parts looking very rough, especially with the Pokemon's models such as Mewtwo right here, who looks his colors kind of come a bit off to me. They aren't as his usual colors from the main games, it feels like, and his eyes look like they just glued them on, like seriously, those eyes, I don't know, they just look weird. And there's a few other problems like aliasing, low textures, background characters and stages looking like cutouts, and I mentioned before, it's 720p, so it's pretty clear that these things were sacrificed in order to get the game running on not only just the Wii U, but to get at 60 FPS as well. As for sound, while the music's a bit too dubsteppy, it's pretty solid for the most part. I will be playing various songs from the game in the background with the name on the bottom right corner if you're interested in listening. With voice acting though, it's pretty bad. Just listen to yourselves.
Huh? That sounds a little different than what happened to us. For us, it was more like, well, after we battled with Mewtwo, its synergy burst scattered. It returned.
At least you could change the voice track to Japanese. The gameplay of Pokken Tournament is a hybrid of 2D fighting with a mixture of 3D arena fighting like Coronado Storm games. Basically, when the fight starts, you start in a 3D style, and when you pull off a combo, a phase shift happens. And when a phase shift happens, the game's fighting style changes from a 3D fighter to a 2D fighter, and the controls and combos change slightly. Personally, I really enjoy the phase shift, and it makes this game feel quite a bit different, sets itself apart from both the 3D arena fighters like say the Dragon Ball and Naruto games, and say something like say Street Fighter or Tekken. The controls feel very nice and responsive, and moves are pretty easy to pull off. But while I'm not much of a fighting game expert, and usually sick at fighting games, despite how easy it is to pick and play, it does feel like there is some nice depth here. It will be interesting to see how the competitive scene will develop and how long it will last, especially considering this game will be pushed by the Pokemon Company and will have a tournament at the Pokemon World Championships alongside the main series games, the card game, and at EVO this year, it will be alongside Street Fighter V, Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat X, and both Smash Bros. Melee and Smash Bros. Wii U at EVO in July of this year. In terms of Pokemon, we have a total of 16 from across all 6 generations of the series, and some of these Pokemon are, of course, the series mascot Pikachu, and fan favorites like Lucario, Charizard, and Mewtwo, as well as some odd but interesting choices like Chandelure. But if I had to have any issue with the roster, it's pretty much Pokemon like Pikachu, Lubre, and Shadow Mewtwo's existence, only because of this, we only have a total of 14 truly unique Pokemon, and I wish we had two completely different Pokemon over these two, especially considering I didn't pick Water Stars in the main series. I was hoping that I have Swampert, and would gladly taken Swampert over these two any day. There are plenty of more Pokemon represented in the support system. With the support system, you select up to 3 sets of 2 Pokemon, and you pick one of these sets before battle, and pick one of the 2 Pokemon just before the beginning of a round. These Pokemon will provide support to you in various ways, from increasing your attack or defense, to healing you, or just straight up attacking your opponent, or to even decreasing your opponent's attack or defense, and so on. Personally, I enjoyed the support system. They can be very helpful at times, though beware, you can't use the Pokemon at the start of battle, and you have to wait for a certain amount of time that varies on the support of the Pokemon before you can use them. Another mechanic that is pretty similar from the Untitled Storm games is the Synergy Gauge. What the Synergy Gauge is the gauge right above your health and builds up as you do or take more damage in battle, and will carry over from round to round. And once when it's filled up, you press LR at the same time, and your Pokemon will power up, which will have them deal more damage and can take more damage, and by pressing LR again will cause them to pull off a super move. Though keep in mind, once the Synergy Gauge is empty, your Pokemon will go back to their usual stuff, and as you get hurt by your opponent more and more, the Synergy Gauge will actually deplete even faster. One final mechanic worth talking about is how at the end of every fight you'll gain EXP, which will level you up and can increase a Pokemon's stats. Personally though, I didn't really care for this feature, especially since I didn't notice much difference from level 1 all the way to like level 20, and I especially didn't notice a difference in the online play. In terms of modes, we have the Family League, which is the story mode, and in it you fight 4 separate battles, and each of them start in ranked matches, and when you reach the top 8 of this ranking, you'll enter a tournament, and if you win that tournament, you get to fight that league's champion. And once you beat that league's champion, you will have to do a fight against Shadow Mewtwo in one instance, several other fights before you can move on in the league. And like all fight games that ain't Street Fighter V, you have fight against a CPU in a regular CPU mode, though they are surprisingly difficult. Even on the normal difficulty, which is kind of jarring going from the Family League to the CPU mode, outside the final fight against Shadow Mewtwo, personally I thought the Family League was easy, which really made that mode's difficulty spike kind of bizarre. There is also the My Town feature, which you can buy clothing for your avatar, changing your Pfizer Nia's clothing, and change your partner Pokemon for the Family League, and changing out the sets of your support Pokemon. Another functionality worth knowing is the Amiibo functionality. Now, basically, the first functionality of Amiibo is that first pair copies get a Shadow Mewtwo card, and the Shadow Mewtwo card, if you put it on the NFC reader on the Wii U gamepad, you unlock Shadow Mewtwo early as opposed to being the Family League in order to unlock him. Though keep in mind, I don't believe you can use him in either the Family League, online, and every time you restart the game you have to put the card again to unlock him. Though keep in mind, this isn't really strict on this DLC, as you do unlock him once you complete the Family League and all those restrictions are lifted. Another functionality of Amiibo is that you can use just about any Amiibo out there, put it on the NFC reader, and you unlock a random piece of equipment to customize your character with. In terms of multiplayer modes, there is a 2-player mode, but it's not a split screen like the Untitled Storm games. Instead, the TV focuses on player 1, and the gameplay is required to play and focuses on player 2. And the graphics, to me, took kind of a hit, and it runs at 30 FPS. There is though a LAN mode which you can link 2 Wii U's together to get 60 FPS, and you don't have to as a way to avoid using the gamepad. Though with this setup, I'm kind of curious to see how the competitive scene will handle this, especially considering that means they would need 2 Wii U's and 2 copies of the game. There's also the online mode, which has both rank and player matches, and as someone who uses a Wi-Fi connection on Wii U, I gotta say the online play works really well. I only noticed lag briefly in one match. Though the way you set up friends matches to me came off kind of as confusing. I couldn't find like a regular private match mode. Instead, it's done for these codes that you could get in the player match that you enter to fight against your friends. And that just really confused me, but yeah, that's really my only gripe with the online mode Because hell, there's some nice additions to it, like if it takes more than 10 seconds to find a match, it'll put you in match against a CPU while it tries to find one, but finding matches is pretty fast, so this feature probably won't see much use. Though, also I like how this game will tell you why Rage Queen is bad, and will penalize you for it, unlike, say again, Street Fighter 5. Finally,
This
it's also
battle is nice. Try not to get pinned down. That was awesome! To lead like that, you practically won already. Keep up the pressure and take them down. Too early to use your synergy mode. Your support gauge is full. Greatly done!
I would say the opposite here. But nonetheless,
Come on, Weavile.
still think it's
Psych
worth
up.
$60. Personally, I had a lot of fun with Pokken. While I do feel the game is lacking in terms of content, it has a really mediocre story at best that is pretty short, and the Family League mode, in my opinion, got kind of repetitive at times. I really did enjoy Pokken Tournament. It's pretty easy to pick up and play, and does some interesting things like the phase shift mechanic that really does help it set apart from other fighting games, and the online play is a ton of fun, and yeah, it has, in my opinion, definitely a better netcode than, say, Smash 4. It'll be interesting to see how this game's competitive scene will develop and if it can last. I do feel that EVO will be the make or break it for this game. I will be watching it at EVO this year alongside Smash Bros. And Street Fighter 5. But yeah, overall, if you're a Pokemon fan and a fighting game fan that owns a Wii U, I definitely say Pokken Tournament is worth picking up.